Extension, I'm Allison here, and this is Karen coming to you from Extension Technology and doing just a quick video on some tips for how to film interviews. So this is in no way an exhaustive list of tips, but just a couple things you can use to get started if you're filming an interview. That seems to be kind of a common format that people are using. So we're going to talk about some setup first and then show what to do when you're actually filming, and then we'll be done. So first thing to think about is lighting. You're going to want to be in a place and make sure it's not backlit. Alright, so we've got a really good example here. We've got some overhead lighting and there's no window, nothing behind Karen that's going to be backlit. Oh, and I should say I'm going to be filming and Karen's our subject here. So this is kind of ideal, and also make sure you have some kind of key light shining on your subject's face. So for this, we're actually using the overhead lights to shine on Karen's face, and that'll be great. With mobile devices, iPads and things, you actually get some pretty good adaptation to low light situations. So chances are you won't have to add any additional light, but make sure there's something illuminating their face, but not from the back. You might also use the sun. If you're in an office, you can position them near a window and use the light from the window to be shining on their face, and again, not behind them. Okay, so that's lighting. Audio is your next thing to think about, and audio is an important thing to think about. Make sure you're in a quiet room. And if you're in a quiet room, you might not need an external mic. You might be just fine. If you're not in a quiet room, if you're outside, if you're in wind, if you're in a building with other people, if you're at the state fair, use a mic. There's really no way around it. We have kits you can use to check out and grab mics and use those. Also, always make sure that you film some test footage and then go back and check your volume levels. So then what I do is I'll just film a short little clip of Karen. When I'm done, I'll stop. I'll go and look at my footage, and I usually just carry a pair of headphones with me, and I can plug it in and listen and make sure that the volume level is good. And it also doesn't psych her out to hear her own voice. I can just use these headphones and listen and do it subtly. Sometimes I make jokes and do it subtly without them even knowing that you're doing it. So that's some test footage. And then the other thing is be consistent. So don't switch between mics or switch between audio situations within one video. So use the same mic, use no mic, and do that consistently throughout your entire video. Otherwise you're going to have choppy audio, and that's really distracting. Okay, couple last quick setup tips. We've got lighting and audio covered, but these are just some random little tricks that will really help you kind of make decent enough video. That's what we're focusing on. Use a tripod, or prop up your phone on, and we're assuming you're using a phone or some kind of mobile device here, phone, tablet, prop it up on a table or on a box, something. Don't think that you can get away without using a tripod, or you'll end up with something that looks a lot like the Blair Witch Project. And it's a really good way to ruin video, or it's a really good way to save video, just to use your tripod. Also, when you're framing your shot, frame your shot using the rule of thirds. So I'm kind of demonstrating that here. It's going to be a little hard to see, but I'm putting Karen's about a third of the way from the side of my shot, either on the left or right side, but a third of the way in, not directly in the center. That kind of disturbs people to have things too centered. Kind of an ideal is just on a third of the way on either side. And then I also have her head about a third of the way down from the top. So that's the rule of thirds. There's a lot of great videos on YouTube about how to figure out the rule of thirds for yourself, and some good demos there. So just go to YouTube and check out rule of thirds. That's kind of fun. One last little tip, swivel chairs are your enemy when you're filming an interview. So if you have your interview subjects sitting down, do not let them sit in a swivel chair. Make sure they're sitting in a chair that's steady. So we've got Karen in this awesome, I believe, IKEA chair here, and she's just going to stay steady. Interview subjects will always promise that they won't swivel if they're sitting in a swivel chair, and that is not true. So don't even tempt them. Just get a stable chair. Alright, now that we're set up, we're ready to start recording. So we're going to switch the camera angle, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm recording Karen doing her interview. Okay, now I'm here ready to record, and Karen's sitting across from me, and I'm over here next to my camera. One tip then when you're recording is to use cue cards with little answer prompts, and that will make your interview flow a little more easily for your subject. Alright, so this is just a quick trick. I've prepared some cue cards that I want Karen to answer throughout the course of the interview, and you'll notice they're not questions, they're just a prompt. So extension is great because. And Karen can use that when she's starting to just start off a really solid sentence and fill in her answer. And so I'll just hold these up and she can answer these as they go. And these are good to send to your subject in advance. The reason that we use cue cards with these prompts like this rather than questions is it makes it a lot easier to edit your video after the fact. So you'll end up with just nice solid chunks of your subject answering these prompts, and you won't have to go back and hear your voice asking them questions and things. It just is them and focuses on them. Okay, so that's one quick little trick if you want to try that. Also, when you're recording, position yourself behind the camera. So the camera here on the iPad is right here. I'm going to position myself just in the line of sight from the camera, just above it. And so when Karen's talking to me, she can make eye contact with me. So I'll prep her and say, Karen, I'm going to show you some prompts, please answer them. And you can just talk to me like we're having a conversation. We'll make eye contact. And while Karen's talking, I'll often sit here and nod and smile and maybe laugh. Not out loud, obviously, but just kind of give her some feedback so it's like we're having a conversation. And the nice thing about using a mobile device or iPad is that a lot of people aren't as intimidated by that as a giant camera or video camera or something over your shoulder with lights and things. Okay, last tip when you're doing this, set it and forget it. So just press the record button once, go ahead and ask them to introduce themselves, explain that you'll give them these prompts, and then just keep it rolling the whole time that you're filming. So don't turn your video camera on and off. That's going to distract your subject and it's not necessary. You're going to be editing the footage anyway, so if you get it all in one long chunk, it's not a problem, all right? So I'm just going to set it once, say, thanks Karen for agreeing to do an interview, I'm going to show you some prompts, and just answer them whenever you're ready. And again, express to them that it's not important that they have it all off the cuff, that you're going to be editing it later, and that takes some of the pressure off of them to have to perform on the first round. If they want to go back and redo something, not a problem. But record once, hit the record button, set it, and forget it. So those are some tips. That should get you started with some really easy, editable interview footage. Okay.